Hello and welcome to Backstage at Bug, Firebug's new podcast. I'm your host Courtney Askey, and I'm really happy that you're joining us today for the first episode of this new podcast which we've been working on for some time. Backstage at Bug is a series of interviews with musicians. We wanted to do something quite casual and invite some really cool Leicester-based musicians into Firebug to eat some food with us, drink some drinks, talk about music, talk about performing, songwriting, funny gig stories, some cool recommendations of musicians to check out for, just all the best things about music and sharing why it's such an amazing thing with each other. You'll find throughout this series that each episode is quite different in the way we've been filming as we've been getting to grips with how this works. So we've got some episodes which are filmed beautifully with the help of We The Conspirators, like this first episode, and other episodes which are a little bit more lo-fi as we kind of find our feet and work out how this works. There's two different ways of watching or listening to this podcast. You can either watch it on YouTube and you can see the musicians in Firebug. We've got some kind of fun visual references. So this is a cool option if you want to check out that. We've also got the Spotify version where you can listen on there instead if that's what you prefer. What we wanted to do at Firebug was to create a new platform for musicians in various different genres and at different stages of their careers. And a space that was a little bit more informal where we can kind of just like passionately talk about all the best things about music and that whole process of making music and performing and all the kind of things that go into that. And I'm a musician myself, so it really is like a conversation, between musicians talking about this. And yeah, just to create this new platform, which we think Leicester kind of needs, is just to have more of a way to share really what people are doing, because there's some amazing things going on, and the musicians in the first season of this show are really working on some incredible things, and I'm sure that you'll know many of the names, but maybe you'll discover some new people along the way. So this first episode is with Frank Benbini, otherwise known as Uncle Frank, who's a member of the Lovin Criminals, a super iconic band from New York and Leicester. So this first episode was filmed by We The Conspirators. Thank you so much for their help with that. It looks really beautiful and sounds amazing. So appreciate that. And this first episode was filmed whilst I was away from Leicester, because I work at Firebug most of the time, but I was away for a few months staying in Brooklyn, working on some projects. So it was a kind of exciting time to talk with Frank about the Leicester New York crossover, and actually we both agreed that there are quite a lot of similarities between Leicester and New York. Frank's got some incredible stories, and this is a podcast about New York and some just amazing and hilarious tales from his career as a musician, touring internationally and making some incredible music. I think you'll have a really good time listening to this. It's a lot of fun, and Frank was a real pleasure to talk to. So this was filmed back in around April time, where he just wrapped up his BBC Radio Leicester show. So we talk about that a little bit. And also he talks about going on tour, which I believe he just got back from. So do check him out. He's working with Uncle Frank at Lovin Criminals. Find them online. He's made some great recommendations for some musicians to check out also. So yeah, I hope you really enjoy the first episode. Please do share it with people. Let us know what you think. You can comment and message us on social media at Firebug Bar Leicester. You can also email us at backstageatbug@gmail.com, which is backstage80bug@gmail.com. If you'd like to send in any messages, or if you have any maybe recommendations or people you'd like to see on future episodes, please do get in touch. That would be great. So thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you really love this episode. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate that. It's kind of a weird setup we've got going on with the kind of Leicester versus New York, there's a weird middle ground that we just had to do. I think there's a very limited amount of people in Leicester who have that connection, a New York connection that is a really fun thing to explore. So yeah, how firstly, how are things going?
Everything's good. It was strange when you contacted me because it wasn't too long ago. I was in New York, so we could have made this a lot easier. I could have met you in a bar, could have met you down at Bungalow 8, one of my favourite bars in New York, and could have done it from there. But when you rang, it's like I just finished up a tour in the States, and now I'm back in Leicester only until the 10th of April. So what's that, about 12 days, something like that, and then back out in Europe. So it's good to be able to do that, but it would have been great to have been in New York. Could have took you around all my spots, you know what I mean? It would have been great.
Honestly, I'm missing it. You have to give me some recommendations.
And you wearing that cool shirt, places. I could have took you up to a couple of the spots where I've hung out with the Beastie Boys. I could have took you to this really, really great Rooker Park, which is just up a little bit, just past, I think, 98th or something. I can't remember the street. But it's where all the legendary basketball games that MCA used to go to a lot. And he made a documentary about it. It's an amazing documentary. If you've never seen it.
No, I don't think I have, no. Is it with Spike Jonze or is it a separate one?
I think it's just MCA did this one. Yeah, he's had such a love for basketball. So, but I've been and sat up there. It's great. You just get street players playing, drinking, boom boxes. It's like old school New York, people playing basketball, people having arguments, and it's just fantastic, you know what I mean? All walks of life. I mean, I love that. I love that town. I've got a lot of memories there. Obviously, I joined a massive band that are infamous from New York City, I've been going in and out of that city that much. There was a time where I'd be flying in and out of New York that much that when I get on aeroplanes, either Virgin Atlantic or British Airways, I'd walk in and they'd go, yeah, how are you, Frank? You know what I mean? That's how often I used to go there, like the air hostess is like, hey, all right, Frank, what do you want? A Jack and Coke? I'd be like, yes, please.
In terms of boroughs, where's your favourite one? Do you have one?
Yeah, I like Hell's Kitchen. I like Hell's Kitchen. One of my favourite pizza shops is there. But then the reason why I like that is you just walk about four blocks over and you're on the waterside near the Hudson. And I like being there, clear your head. You know, you can look over to New Jersey. That place stinks. I never go there. But like, you know, I can look and I can see it and I see the boats going up and down. But I kind of like that side. I like Midtown as well, I've got to be honest, because I'm a big sneaker fan, like huge. Got a big collection of sneakers, so that's another reason why I absolutely love New York. And I'm a kid of the 80s, so I was there for the birth of hip-hop. So hip-hop, I love going over to Brooklyn. I probably spent more time in Brooklyn than I have Manhattan. But then Brooklyn's, that's changed a bit as well.
It's got a different feel to it from Manhattan completely. I'm living in Brooklyn.
Whereabouts?
I'm in Bushwick.
Okay.
Sort of. I'm on the outskirt of Bushwick.
Yeah.
I'm kind of in between like 3 different places.
Okay.
I'm right underneath the subway line. You know the ones that are like over the street?
Yeah.
I think they have a name, but I don't know what they're called.
Yeah.
So you will hear the trains. It's inevitable. They are every 6 minutes or so.
Does it shake your building?
Absolutely. Yeah.
I stayed in a place once right over the road from Manhattan Bridge, and there was a subway there that used to run, and literally I'd be holding everything down, the laptop, you know, the deodorant on the side, everything would be going.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Like you look around and all the like liquids are
all shaking.
But I wouldn't change it though, because the like absolute luxury of being a 1 minute walk away from a train that can take you anywhere, it seems, is just magic.
Yeah,
I've never experienced transport like it, and it is the Wild West on there. It's completely chaotic all the time.
It is.
There's always something happening.
Some of the characters you'll get on there is like scare you to death, some of them, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah. It's pure chaos at all times, and I feel like it's the kind of place where you just leave the house and it's like, I've never seen that ever in my life before, or I've never heard anybody say that ever in my life before.
Yeah.
And every day seems to have a new complete surprise.
The one thing I'd say about that place is I'm no tourist. Like I don't like to walk anywhere. I'm not a walker. even though over the last few years I do, because I've got a little pooch now, a little dog. A shout out to Winnie, the Jack Russell. But yes, but I notoriously need to be driven everywhere, flew everywhere, or on the back of a speedboat. That's my chosen way of getting around. But New York is the only city where I will walk. And when I say walk, you know where you can get them silly things on your phone or them watches that tell you how many steps you've done? Like when I'm there, it's like 27,000 steps in one day. When I'm here, I do like 8 steps in one day. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. So I do love New York for that, because there's just always something to see. And, you know, and as you change and go over to one street, you've got, you know, Latino music and Latino food being cooked, and then you step over to the next place and you go and buy some fine dining, and then there's a load of Italians arguing on the street, and then, you know, it's just a mishmash. You know, to be honest with you though, I've always said it. I don't know about yourself, but there's familiarities between Leicester and New York. Now I've said this in interviews, and people laugh at you. Oh, come on, Frank, you're not trying to put Leicester up on the same par as New York. And I'm like, well, in Leicester, there's every Tom, Dick and Harry all trying to get on with each other, you know, and it's the same with New York. You know, I got an apartment on Lexington, still there, sublet it out because I'm not there all the time. And on Lexington, the street where I've got the apartment is pretty much like Narborough Road in Leicester. It's like, it just smells of curry, it smells of Istanbul, it's the same smells, it's the same people, and everyone trying to get on with each other, and some days they do, some days they don't. You know, the traffic system's screwed, everything's overpriced. So yeah, there's a lot of similarities with New York and Leicester, I find anyway.
I completely agree, and it's so funny because the like London-centric conversations that I've been having over here is, you know, you kind of meet somebody and they say, oh, where are you from? You say, oh, I'm from the UK. They say, oh, you're from London? No, I'm from Leicester, actually.
Yeah.
Leicester is great.
Yeah. It's always London, isn't it? And then they go into their Mary Pot, all right, Governor. They try and do that. It's like, shut up, you twat. You know what I mean? We don't talk like that. You know what I mean?
I kind of love it. I love a bad English accent impression. Every time it makes me laugh because I'm like, it's so bad that it's good to me.
Yeah.
Talking about the UK, obviously, like, people know London because it's capital city. I mean, it's the same as we know other places as, you know, capital cities a lot of the time. But I really get like such a thrill in being like, oh no, it's like medium-sized city. It's right in the middle. You can get to everywhere in like an hour. It's super diverse. It's super cool. You know, it's small, but it's, you know, but it's got so much charm.
Yeah.
But no, I completely agree. There is something. I can't exactly pin my finger on what it is, but I think it's like you say, in that everyone's coexisting in this way of like, I don't know, there's a lot of things happening all next to each other and with each other, and I think as well the thing you said about music, with you kind of leave one neighbourhood or you go down one street and you can hear something from somebody's car, and then you go down the road and it's something from somebody's shop or, you know, whatever, and it's like, I don't know, you really get a sense of other people. But also the music in the city is unbelievable. Like, it's everywhere. I think I've only been to maybe 2 places since I've been here for the past month that is quiet.
Yeah, that's right.
It's like everywhere you go.
Well, that's like that's why I like, you know, getting on that west side. I don't know if you walked along the the
High Line.
If you walked along there.
Not this time, but I did it last time.
It's fantastic.
It was great.
Yeah, that's amazing. But then if you just step off the end of that when you get uptown and just go over them 2 or 3 blocks and you can see it. I remember once going over there, and not something you don't really experience over here is fireflies. You know, the little flies that light up, you know, the back end like a bee, but and the kids over there would catch a load of them and put them in a big jam jar and then hang them, and it'd be like a lamp in their bedroom and stuff like that. I remember the first time I went out there, and I think it was back in the day when I was still partaking in a couple of jazz cigarettes, and I was out there with my drum tech at the time, a girl called Annie Sidlow, who's such a badass American nut job of a rock chick, and She was my drum tech for many years. She grew up with 5 brothers. All 5 brothers are in the New York Fire Brigade. So she grew up rough and tough. And she took me uptown, and we'd been in a bar, and then we went out to the west side, and we were sitting in this park. And I'm sitting there, and I start thinking, something's wrong. I'm seeing all these stars, all these bright lights, and I'm starting to freak out, thinking, someone spiked my drink in this bar, or is she laced my spliff or something? I didn't know what it was, and I was just like, oh my God. And I look at her, I go, are you seeing things? And she's like, no. I says, I'm seeing things. She said, what are you seeing? I said, bright lights, they're all around me. She went, you donut. You know what I mean? And she kind of like caught one and went like that and showed me. She went, is that what you're seeing? And I was like, yeah, what is that? And she went, they're firebugs, like they're like light up. And I was like, you're having a laugh. There's nothing, there ain't no creatures that light up like a torch. She went, there is, you know what I mean? I was running around like, I mean, so it was like trying to catch them. It was like crazy. But yeah, that side is why I like it, because it's quite quiet. But you know, anybody that's never been New York that's watching this, if you want to go somewhere quiet to relax, do not go to New York, whatever you do, because you're absolutely right. And what the thing I love about, especially Brooklyn, as you go over the Brooklyn Bridge and you come down and it kind of turns into Smith Street, and as you get down into like Fulton Street and Fulton Market, that was the big birth of hip hop, which is something that I'm an expert on. So going there over the years, sneaker shopping at Dr. J's, going into Fulton Market, you know, going to Beats and Crates there, and you know, that's where Biggie Smalls was rapping outside the shops and stuff like that. So it's but still to this day, and you'll find it if you're in Brooklyn, you'll have cars go by playing the and you're just like, oh yes, as they're going by, you know what I mean? Yeah. So I love my hip hop. I love Brooklyn for that. And Pies and Thighs, if you've never been to a place called Pies and Thighs, please go to it before you leave. It's it's not very far away from you. So Google it later, Pies and Thighs. It's a tiny little restaurant that do the most amazing fruit, like short crust pies. You can have it with ice cream. But I don't know if you're vegan or if you eat meat, I don't know. But they do the chicken there, which is just off the chain. Like, nice. Oh, unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean, the food here is pretty unbelievable. Like all the different places that you can, anything you can dream of, you can have. Find something that's so good.
I know, and it can be delivered to your door. Ain't that great, right?
Maybe now's a good time to construct a cocktail. So we thought we would make a Firebug classic.
A Firebug classic. A Firebug.
And I can give you some instructions as to how to make it, which we'll see how it goes, because I mean, you've just tried one and I think you're a fan.
I am a fan. Yeah, okay, I was absolutely horrified with how many different liquors go in it though, so I don't know. I was only just in the Firebug. I finished up my radio show on Sunday night, half a decade, on BBC Radio Leicester. So obviously we wanted a party, so I started the party over at the BBC, which that place got completely ruined. And then we made our way over to here, because the greatest thing about this bar is it's open till 4 in the morning. It's 7 days a week. 7 days a week. That's unreal. How amazing. This bar is the most New York bar in Leicester, because it holds them hours, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
But I thought, right, let's go Firebug. So we come in here, and there was a kid downstairs, I don't know his name, working behind the bar, who made an awesome Dark and Stormy. So I was like, let's just stay here till we get kicked out. And then I have been on the sofa since, and this is the first time I've got up in 3 days to come and do this, because I have been, as you get older, it just gets worse, man. That period of trying to get yourself back on track. So, and then I walk in, and my boy Adam here makes me this crazy shot that we're about to make now, and I just looked at all the liquors and thought, not again, man, not again, please. But I'll give it a go.
Places. All right, so I thought, and also you're gonna share a recipe with me.
Yes.
Maybe if I tell you the Firebug one.
Yeah.
First.
Shall I make it then?
Yeah.
All right.
Let's do that.
Starts with that, doesn't it?
Are we gonna do a Firebug iced tea first, or one of yours first?
No, let's make yours. Feeling confident.
Okay. All right, I believe in you. It's gonna be great.
Oh God, so you're the only person ever in my life that does.
I have every faith. Right, so you're gonna need. This is gonna be fun to explain actually, because I'm not very good at explaining things, so even better. So we're going to need to start with, you've got your shaker.
Got my shaker.
Now you're going to need a measurer. You got a...
Got a measurer, yeah.
Measurer? Okay, cool. So it does have a bunch of stuff in it, you're right. So we're going to make Firebug iced tea, which is like a raspberry lemon juice based.
Start with a lemon.
We're going to start with the lemon.
All right.
So we're going to have a whole shot of lemon juice. So we're going lemonade.
I'm going to go with what my guy said about that. Okay, I've done the lemon.
That's it.
Lemon's in.
Bang it. And then we're going to do raspberry puree. That's the one.
Got that.
And we're going to do like a shot and a half. But you can just squeeze it in. Do it till it feels right.
Okay.
And then we're going to go for half a shot of raspberry syrup. Yeah, that's the one.
Half of one of these. Is that right?
Yeah. Perfect. And then we're going... Okay, this is a bit of a fun bit. So half a shot of vodka. Yeah, we're using Absolute.
Yep.
And then half a shot of Bacardi Blanca.
Should I be doing any of them kind of Tom Cruise tricks things?
I think you should do it just to see what happens.
Yeah,
just out of intrigue.
What, you want me to know? You just want me to hurt myself. Is it half a shot of that, Courtney?
Half a shot, yeah.
All right, let's give that a go. All right, it's looking good up to now.
Looking good.
Bombay Sapphire.
Yeah, we can do that one next. Yeah, and then we're gonna go half a shot of tequila after that.
There's a lot of liquor in this drink, isn't there?
And there's more to come.
Is this a popular drink at the Firebug?
Yeah, this is probably, I think, our most popular cocktail. This is a classic.
Really?
And then we're going half a shot of triple sec.
This stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a Long Island, but with fruit rather than Coke. I
was having Long Island iced teas in Australia 2 weeks ago. Sat at the side of the pool with the legendary lead singer of UB40, Ali Campbell.
Oh,
and we were getting pretty messed up on those. I threw in the odd strawberry daiquiri just to level myself out.
This is a smoothie here and
I've got all that gubbins in there.
Perfect. Right, now you're going to bang a load of ice in it. Just fill it up with ice. Amazing. That'll be good. And then smack your shaker on.
Smack
and then give it like a good thwack. Right, and then just give it a good shake.
This way? This way.
So this is when you can experiment with your...
I watched. Is it John Taffer's Bar Rescue? Do you watch that? The American show. Oh my God! Right. They say that when you shake, you should always look at who you're serving to and smile. You should never do this. You know what I mean? So I'm doing this now to your cameras, like I know what I'm doing. Right now.
Right, cool. And then you want to kind of smack that's it, right way around, and smack it at the top, and then you should be able to wiggle the glass off in theory. You kind of break the seal. Yeah, perfect.
All right.
All right, then you need a strainer. Sorted. And then straight in. It's looking great.
Someone's going to have to try this to give me the verdict. Now, more ice.
And then you want to put some ice in it. Yeah, fresh ice. And then just top it up with lemonade. You're good to go.
All right.
Amazing. It looks absolutely perfect.
How does it look?
Garnish with a slice of lemon if you like. I don't know if there is any.
I've got lemon. I've got lime.
Yeah, we'll go for lime.
When you say, just stick it in?
Yeah.
How's that?
Gorgeous. Perfect, I'd say. Yeah.
Do I bring in an expert barman here by the name of Adam just to give it a sip?
I think you should. I feel like Adam would be a good judge.
Because I need to know if I've done it right, you know?
Of course.
Let me know, Adam.
Here's a rating out of 10.
10 out of 10.
Hey.
You can have a job here.
Adam's my man, and I didn't even pay him to say that. That's wicked. You have to drink it all, though, Adam. You have to drink it all.
Yeah.
Though.
That's it. You're behind the bar. You're serving now. That's it. You're in.
Oh, wow.
All right. So you're going to teach me how to make a cocktail. So we spoke before about one that would be a fun New York-inspired drink.
Yes.
And you told me about one that is called the FLC.
We call it the FLC, after the band, Fun Lovin Criminals. Mm-hmm. It's a drink that we have drank religiously before we go on stage every single show. The first one is always rough, got to be honest. By the third, they get better. But the drink's purpose really is to get us in the mood pretty quick before we hit the stage. I think what makes it do that is the sugar kick that we put in it. It's based on an old. It's not really a cocktail. You could have it a cocktail. I suppose it's a little bit like a margarita, but without the sourness. This is more of a quick punch under the jaw to get you ready to walk on and rock hundreds of thousands of people. That's what it's for. But it's based on a drink called the Cowboy Killer, which is something that we found in a bar off Venice Beach many years ago. And there was some wild girls having a party, and they were going around with a tray with all these shots on it. It was like, oh, that's so good. Like, you know, and we just slightly adapted it. Now, the ingredients for it is if you find yourself not having fresh limes, not everyone's got fresh limes in the fridge, sometimes you can use Rose's lime cordial, which is an absolute classic cordial. It has to be Rose's for me. It's got the Queen stamp on it and everything. It's proper. But it starts with, do you want me to make it now?
Please, yeah, and I'm going to try and follow along. And I don't know that I'm prepared equipment-wise.
Okay, well, it's pretty...
Are we shaking?
Yeah, we are.
Okay, this is going to be my hurdle number one.
All right, well, put it at the side on your wardrobe and wait for the train to come by.
We'll just jiggle it. Yeah, I've got what are we going to need? Let me see if I've
So, start with a glass of ice. See? Yeah. And then the chosen one for me always is silver Patron. But any will do. Just stay away from gold tequila. I'm not a fan of that.
Yeah. I went for this one.
Brilliant. Now, as I was talking to your expert bar staff here at the Firebug, everything's done with measures, but we don't make ours like that. We just think, how fucked up do we want to get at this show? Basically, that's what we say. That's the technical term for it.
Yeah.
And then we pour. But I have been told that...
Measure with your heart.
Measure with your heart. I love that. What a great name for an album. I'm going to keep that one, Courtney.
Perfect.
I'm keeping that one, love.
But like, just now's probably the good time to say the disclaimer. Please don't tell the Firebug staff to measure with their heart, because they will give you a drink filled with hate.
They will lose their job. But so what I normally do is go for a pretty big pour. That's a small pour for me. It's normally probably half a pint of tequila I put in there.
Perfect.
So I've gone for a quarter, and then it's the long part of the job, limes, because I tend to not want to use lime cordial, Courtney, because it's too sweet. That's only a backup if you've not got fresh limes. So we put quite a lot of limes in. So in one shot, I'll probably do three to four limes in one mix.
Perfect, because I've got 4 limes in front of me right now.
Brilliant.
I also only have one hand, so let me... This is going to be a terrible idea for yourself.
No, well, I can... Do you want me to talk you through it now as you're making it? All right, so you start with that glass of ice. You've done your pour. Hopefully you've done your pour of tequila. Yep, there you go. Big pour, don't hold back. I know it's early where you are, don't worry about that. Oh, you ain't messing around, are you? There you go. She's just done a big pour there.
I would like to add that it is 8:30 in the morning for me, so this is definitely starting the day.
It's just a normal morning in Courtney's life, okay? Don't try and mask it.
How are you feeling about your final radio show?
Yeah, it was good. It was really nice. So many nice words. You're convinced when you do radio, because it's nothing like being a musician, because you get instant feedback. Don't you? When you go out on a stage, the feedback's instant. When you're in a radio studio, it's just you and a microphone and four walls, and it's quite dark on a Sunday evening, and you're convinced that no one's listening. I'm always convinced that no one's listening. And even though people say, "Oh, you're mad, man, we listen to it all the time," and I'll run into people in the street, "I love your show," but still in my mind, yeah, no one's really listening, you know what I mean? Well, on Sunday, it was like everybody decided to let me know that they've been listening for half a decade. So it was quite overwhelming, and I do apologise for all the messages. I was never going to be able to read them all out, so anybody that did message me in on that is great. But I have got an idea of, from what I've been doing there on a Sunday night, which is playing the best in funk and groove and classics, and a little smidgen of hip-hop, a little smidgen of reggae, basically great music, that I might do one-off Uncle Frank radio shows, but it be a live gig. And I was just talking to Matt at the Firebug, because where I am right now would be the perfect place at this upstairs bar to do something like that. So yeah, there may be life in the radio show, but just slightly different concept. So that's what I'm looking at. But it was great. But boy, oh boy, it was one of them classic mornings on Monday morning where I just said them famous words: "I'm never drinking again."
Of course, and now here you are.
And here I am now, and Adam's getting me. Adam's getting me wrecked with one of these Firebug Long Island teas.
Right, so I'm absolutely full of tequila and lime.
Yeah, like, so that's not. Can you see that colour there? It's like that cloudy lemonade-y.
Yes.
That's what you want. And then now all we do, it's so basic. It's iced tequila, fresh lime, and now you just want sugar, like you put in a tea or a coffee. You got it.
So you're ready. All right.
And then I'd probably do 3 of those.
Yeah.
Counterbalance that, like maybe 3.5, maybe 3.5.
I've got sugar and lime everywhere. On my laptop, on my desk.
Oh no, down the microphone.
Yeah.
And then whack your thingamajig on. Do you put that on straight, Adam, or just... is that all right? And it's this way, yeah. All right, and then you can't... So you're going to have to go pour to pour, right?
I could maybe... I have a spoon.
You can... all right, Mary Poppins. You can whisk it if you want. But yeah, normally you'd shake it. But there's been times in certain dressing rooms when you're like in the middle of nowhere in Serbia playing a gig, and they haven't got any of this. I have got this today, so we'll give that a shake. And what you want to do, the trick, the absolute bona fide trick that you won't get there, is this needs to cloud over. Mm-hmm. Needs to be like ice. Then and only, cold. Yeah, really cold. And then and only then is it ready to be drank.
Perfect.
That's a very important rule.
I'm really jealous of the shaker right now. Even if it is 8 in the morning, so I don't really want to drink it. I would love to hear some gig stories. I mean, you were talking about doing a gig in Serbia, and I bet that was a super interesting experience. And
yeah.
I can imagine you have hundreds of incredible gig stories.
I do.
Do you have like one go-to gig story that's always a classic tale?
Ooh, some are hard to... Some are difficult to talk about because they can get you in trouble, a lot of Frank's stories. So I need to really think now on...
There's a mental filter going on.
The mental filter's going on. I've just poured mine, and that's how it wants to look. It wants to look
it's looking
cloudy and white, a bit like a margarita.
Really yeah.
Do you want to try it? Go on. I'm going to get the camera guys now to try it because Adam's ran off. He didn't.
He's hiding.
Give it a big, like a shot. I'm watching their reaction as they're drinking it now.
I thought it was going to be
horrible.
Too bad, yeah.
You imagine it's a shot though, so you're only having 1 or 2 and bang, you're gone.
Oh yeah.
You're doing this as a shot?
Yeah, not all of it. No, But yeah, try it. Go on, have a little shot.
I love it. I'm a huge tequila fan, so
Oh, really?
perfect. Yeah,
I mean,
I love it.
I don't know what it's like at 8:30 in the morning, but at night time when you're in the mood, you know what I mean? It's pretty good.
Yeah, I'm super into it. I love it. My favourite go-to gig drink is one that people always are absolutely disgusted by, and that's tequila and Red Bull.
Oh, really?
I mean, it sounds bad. I mean, it is bad. I won't lie. It is bad.
Yeah.
But also, it's very, very good.
Well, you just asked me about some stories, and you mentioning the word Red Bull is. I'll try and think of a couple, but this is really interesting because it blew me away. But we were asked to go and play at Red Bull's big surf competition that happens in Hawaii. Just one of them dream gigs that comes in.
Yeah.
Do you guys want to come and play at this big surf competition? It's like end of tournament party. There was us, Michael Franti, Spearheads, and some people that I really admire as well, other musicians that were asked to come and do this. Eddie Vedder was there from Pearl Jam. It was wicked. It was awesome. And they invited us down on the last day to the competition. So we went down to the north shore of Maui, which is the most amazing island in Hawaii. And on the beach, you know, Red Bull, they got a lot of money, so they got it all macked out, and they had a big high-rise stage where all the judges were judging the surf competition that was happening out there. And over there was a sound system, and there was a big barbecue, and then there was one of the big Red Bull tents, you know. And there was two girls in Red Bull tops dishing out Red Bull. So anyway, I'm watching this surf competition, and I'm thinking, you know, the sun's beating down, I'm hot. I looked around, wasn't any waters. I've never been a big Red Bull drinker. But I thought I'll go and get one because I bet they've got cold drinks. So I walked down, and there was a guy stood there, and I'm kind of like looking at this surfer who's doing a set, and my back's towards the bar where the girls are. I'm about to ask for a Red Bull, and this guy said to me, hey man, you having a good time? And I was like, yeah, it's wicked. I says, they're crazy how big them waves are, and we're just chatting away. And I says, I goes, but I'm a bit hot, so I might shoot off. He goes, yeah, you're Frank, right, from Lovin Criminals? I says, yeah. He goes, yeah, I booked you to play. Like, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow night. And I said, oh, wicked. I goes, yeah, it's really cool, man. Thank you so much. Didn't really know who he was. And anyway, I went to turn around, and he went, are you about to ask for a Red Bull? And I says, yeah. And he went, I wouldn't bother. And I was like, why? He goes, it is. If you knew what was in the Red Bull, you would never drink it. It's literally the worst thing for your body. And I was like, oh, all right, cool, I won't have it. And then I stood there talking a bit more. So what do you do then? He went, yeah, I am Red Bull. I own Red Bull. So, holy shit. If you're telling me never to drink this and put it in my system, and you own Red Bull, I am definitely not putting this in my system. So I went walking off, and I think I got a coconut water. It just made me laugh. Like, you would expect the guy to go, yeah, man, get yourself a Red Bull. It's one of the best drinks ever. But he was like, do not touch this shit, you know what I mean? It was a funny one. But Courtney, I've got so many, but I forget them.
Yeah,
I forget about these stories. Like, there's been so many, you know. I remember making my first record in a place called Quad Studios. Quad Studios is infamous in Times Square. It's a complex that's in everywhere in New York. It's up. It's I think the 10th, 11th, 12th floor of the studio floors in this big high rise, and it's the infamous place where Tupac got shot in the reception while Biggie was up in Studio 3. So scoot on to 2002, just not long after the towers had come down. I found myself making a record with one of my old Leicester bands called Baby Genius, and we were in there, and it was just it was mind blowing for me because it was like, wow, you know, I remember that famous shot of Tupac being put in the back of the ambulance, and he leans up and he goes like that. I mean, it's on T-shirts now that you can buy in fucking Primark or whatever, but it's like the most iconic shot. And Biggie was up there, and he was in Studio 3, and I said, well, when we make our record, I want to record in Studio 3 because that's where Biggie recorded. So it was all these little things. And I remember my very first day at Quad Studios as just a young kid from Leicester, and I'm sat in the green room. So that you come down, you know, you go up in the lift to the second like the second part of the complex and the third part of the complex. So there's 3 studios, 1 main studio, second studio, and studio 3. And then underneath that is the reception and a pool table and a coffee machine and a vending machine and waters, and that's the green room. And I remember going down there thinking, I'm gonna have a little game of pool. They were setting up all my drum stuff. So I'm playing pool, and as I'm playing pool, this guy walks by with a viola-shaped bass case and put it down, and I just looked and I was like, oh, it must be an old Rickenbacker, not Hofner or something like that. And I looked at the tape that was around the edge, and it said P. McCartney, and I thought, fucking no way. You know what I mean?
Not many of them.
And then as I've gone to turn round to like get some chalk to chalk my cue, there's Paul McCartney pouring a coffee. I was like, holy shit, you know. But it gets better, and I'm doing that and I'm thinking, wow, and I was like, I can't believe Paul McCartney. And as I've gone to the lift and opened the lift's open and the whole of Coldplay walk out. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Do you know what I mean? I couldn't believe. It's like, this is day one and I'm in this place, and it was like crazy. And then we were up in the studio. This is about 3 days later, and you know, it's when I was smoking a lot of weed, and I said, I'm here making a record, it's rock and roll, I need some weed. So my boys from Lovin Criminals, I wasn't in Lovin Criminals at this point, we were just friends. And he come by and he says, yeah, how long are you here for? I said, we're making this record for a couple of weeks. And he said, well, will this do? And he pulled out a bag of weed, which was like this, do you know what I mean? And I was like, damn, I said, yeah, that'd be great. Cool. So I get it, and I just put it in my, like, shoulder bag thing. Don't think anything of it. And then a little bit later, I'm so name dropping now, but all what I'm telling you is true. You got the lead singer from The Clash.
Just casually.
Yeah, it's not long before he passed away. And he's come on, we're having a party tonight, and you know, you're all welcome. We gave some tickets out. Didn't think anything of it, carried on working. It was about midnight, left the studio. Let's go and hit this Club 19 up, it was called. So we went there, and I've walked on. I don't know if a lot of people know that a lot of off-duty police, to make up their money, sometimes stand on some of the doors to do security. I didn't know that at the time, but I got a rude awakening because I've walked up to the club, and because I've got a satchel bag on, they've said, yeah, bro, we need to check your bag. And I just swung it round as normal, didn't think anything. Yeah, no problem. Unzipped it, he opened it, pulled out this fucking huge bag of weed, like, and he just looked at me and he went, seriously, bro, seriously. And I was like, mate, I forgot all about what it is, Governor. I'm from London and I've come over to make a bloody record. And he was just like thinking, he just looked at me, mate, you've got 2 options, mate. And I says, what's that? You either don't come in the club tonight and take this with you, or put it in that bin over there and I'll let you come in the club. And I looked at him and I thought, I'm here for 3 weeks making a record. There's no way I'm putting it, because I knew if I'd have put that in the bin, he probably would have got it and would have sold it, you know, I don't know. So I was like, okay, I won't come in that night. But here's the biggest name drop of them all, right? I said, oh, I won't come in. So he goes, there you go. And he was kind of laughing at me, like, you know. And as I turned around to walk off, Denzel Washington was walking straight in the club. I was just like, this New York is just fucking crazy. You know what I mean? Just crazy.
Like a simulation. It's not even real at that point.
It's not even real. But Courtney, I've got 100 stories like that, but most of them I've forgotten. It's not until I'll have a conversation with someone like you, or someone will say to me, you know, didn't you get in a fight with a bass player with U2? And I'll be like, oh yeah, I did, yeah. I remember that, you know. There's all these things that I just...
Wednesday.
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
I forget.
I would love to talk about what your relationship with musical influences, because you've obviously, your output is pretty varied, and you work in a number of different genres, and although I think genre is I personally think genre is nonsense, and you know, a lot of the time things cross over and blend over, and how can you even define something a lot of the time. But yeah, I don't know, do you think that can you pinpoint what influences you, and has it changed over your career, and or has there always been certain, like, you know, themes or people or, you know, times, places that have always and will always be that way for you?
I think that influence musically, it does change, but I was brought up on such greats that they're embedded in me. You know, whether or not that be the melodic and harmonisation of bands like Queen and, you know, like the kind of unorthodox approach of a lot of the old reggae that I've listened to, and then growing up with the birth of hip hop, which was just huge for me. And then obviously the main thing in my life is the drums, my first instrument being the drums. That rhythmically I connect with hip hop because all of hip hop is rhythm, especially how it's delivered. It's all time and syncopation with raps. It's all on the beat. It's all offbeat, on the beat, offbeat. So that's always been an influence to me. But then also I was brought up by a single parent, my mum. And so I try and find the beauty in a lot of music I listen to. And that's when I fell in love early on with Prince, because Prince's approach to music, everything was very feminine with him, very sexual with him, very beautiful. Everything was, you know, like mysterious as well. So that I have to have that connection with music. It's got to be a little bit mysterious. It's got to be a little bit beautiful. It's also got to be a little bit dark. And then it's also got to fucking kick ass when it comes to the rhythms. It's got to be super cool. And then, you know, I always bought into the style of hip hop, from wearing sneakers to having big baseball they're all my influences. But the person that tied it up the best, because he did it the best, and he was the best, and there'll never be anybody like Prince Rogers Nelson ever. He's one of my biggest major influences, which is kind of funny when you've got a big tattooed, grizzly, bearded dude that smacks shit out of drums and his favourite artist is Prince. But that just really underlines what you say, and that is with there's just no rules with me. There's no set way, but all what I've just said, I have to be able to find at least a smidgen of that connection in music. That's why I don't rate a lot of new music in this world of music that's really used just to sell products or to be the backdrop of some silly dancing on TikTok. That's not me. I get that the way that the world is and kids are and how fast it is, and you know, even to the degree of like we're just putting out new Lovin Criminal music, which we haven't done for over a decade. And when they were talking,
sessions are great, by the way. I had listened to them yesterday. The Roosevelt sessions, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, really, really nice.
Oh, bless
man,
thank you.
Yesterday, I really enjoyed it.
That's wicked. But even that, it's like Lovin Criminals never been an EP band. We've always been an album band. But it was like, you know, okay, the one thing that I raised with my partner Fast, who's from Brooklyn, New York, the one thing I raised was, you know, I get that everything is so fast now that I don't know many people that can sit down and listen to 14 tracks at once on an album. And we were like, yeah, but we're an album band. And I'm like, yeah, well, the way I see it is let's just do an EP, follow it up within 6 or 7 months with another EP, and there's 8 tracks. And then let's put them 2 together on a limited edition vinyl, which will feel like an album. Yeah. You know what I mean? But it just, I think that people can digest it. They can digest 4 songs. I come from doing a radio show, and there's absolutely amazing talent out there. People that are still doing it for the pure love of it, for the pure kind of appreciation, trying to get down with really good production skills, trying to home in on their songwriting, trying to home in on getting better at musically that a proper musician's always trying to do. You know, I'm always trying to get better. Whenever I go in the studio and write. And there is so much still of all of that out there. But yeah, like I love hip hop. The big thing about hip hop for me as well, though, was the art and the artwork, the graffiti. You know, one of the original New York graffiti artists was a guy called Mackie Jason. And Mackie Jason was the second drummer in my band, Lovin Criminals. He comes from the punk rock world. He played for the Bad Brains. He's the most amazing drummer.
Yeah.
He was an original graffiti. So back in the day when all them subway trains in the 70s would go by and you see all that original graffiti, a lot of that was his stuff. And I was so honoured that once there was an art exhibition in New York where they brought some of the original drawings and graffiti, and they'd even took a side of a train off and put it in this museum. Mad New York style, fucking over the top, madness, great. And I went to this thing, and it was in the summer, and I had a short sleeve t-shirt on, and there was a book of drawings in a glass cabinet, and one of Mackie Jason's was in there, in the corner. And I've leant over like this, and as I've looked, this woman freaked out, squealing, ran, grabbed my arm, and pulled it in. She went, "Is that a Mackie Jason graffiti piece on your arm? Can you see that, Courtney?"
Amazing, yeah.
He did that just for me. He drew drew it on me, and he even tagged it there.
That's
with Mackie.
He's one of the idea of you being in the gallery and hanging over his work and somebody being like, "What?"
Yeah, she went completely ballistic about it. But he's a fabulous drummer, and he was a fabulous graffiti artist, and he was there. He's one of the forefronts when it came to hip hop, New York, and graffiti. So I loved all that, and the style. You know, I'm probably too old to be wearing baseball caps and fancy night kicks and stuff, but I still do because it's ingrained in me. So it was an amazing time to be around the birth of that music.
Is there anybody you've been listening to recently who you really want people to know about?
Bobby Arosa, fantastic. He's, I don't know, he's for me, he channels a little bit of Chet Baker. Chet Baker, another one of my absolute favourite. I adore the guy. Well, I did, he passed away, but it just, beautiful voice, super talented jazz trumpet player, just amazing. And like, this guy channels a little bit of that. He's very, got a vintage sound. Bobby Arosa. People that I think should be massive, and they're not. They're well known and they do great for themselves, but they're not huge, and they should be huge. Anybody that watches this, please go on YouTube and follow and watch a band called Ozone Matley. Ozomatlia. Ozone Matley from California. Unreal, fantastic. Great musicians, great guys, great live show. Hardest working funk, hip hop, Latin band out there. I love them. Yeah, everybody go and check them out.
Good, thank you for your recommendations. I think obviously with you being, working in radio DJing as well, I bet that was such a great time to share music that you love.
Yes.
Which I think as musicians as well, like the appreciation that we can have for other people's music is so extreme, and it feels so important to share it with other people when you find something that you just absolutely have like so much love for.
It's the best, and I often find that, within any band or with any group of friends, when you get together and someone's got their iPhone playing, the other one's itching to go, "Hey, can I play a track? Can I play the next one? Can I play the next one?" And everyone wants to plug the cable in that never fucking works right, and everyone wants to play their song. So it's such an organic thing, music sharing, and I've been really blessed to be able to basically, for the last half a decade, play my personal record collection to anybody that would tune in and listen to on the BBC, and like I say, the messages I had on Sunday, people loving it. But it's very organic. People will send me stuff and say, "Yo, Frank, have you heard of this band?" And I'll be like, "No." And I'll go research it. It's wicked. Play it on the radio. So there's nothing like, there's nothing like music, and like-minded people enjoying music together it's just it's the best thing. It's like the best thing in my life. It has been,
Thank you so much for talking to me and being on the podcast. I really appreciate it. It's great to have you behind the bar.
I know, right? Uncle Frank, the criminal. They've let the criminal behind the bar at the Firebug, and thank you for teaching me how to make a drink that I've found towards the last quarter of that interview, me slurring a few words. So it's a very, very strong drink that I should possibly throw down the sink, 'cause I'm still nurturing a hangover from the Firebug on Sunday night. But yeah, Courtney, thanks a lot. Have a great time in New York. And if you have any problems, call me, because I know all the gangsters in New York.